Well, this here is the all-new Audi A8L, and L means limousine because this is a really long car. It's around 5.3 meters in length, which really makes it one of the longest cars available in India on sale at the moment. And this is of course the flagship sedan in the Audi range. Now in terms of the looks, it looks just like any other Audi does. It has that typical German goatee-like grille over there, but it really does look stylish because this grille gets a lot of chrome and it's a big grille. And also you get this huge headlamp cluster which has individual LED lamps in it, and of course it has that sophisticated matrix system which individually switches off a beam when it notices some other cars coming from the opposite direction, so that it doesn't blind out the driver who's driving that car. So a very sophisticated feature, a very cool feature, but this is not the only feature which is very cool about this car. We'll get into the interiors and tell you what it is like to sit in them and how many features you get inside them. But in terms of looks, I think this is one of the best looking cars. It looks very sophisticated without trying to work very hard to look sophisticated, of course. But which one is the best looking car in this segment according to you? You can let me know by voting on this pop-out banner. Is the Mercedes S-Class or the BMW 7 Series the better looking car, or does the Audi win in that department? Now let me play some music, show you the exteriors of the car, and then we'll jump inside and show you how good it is from the inside. So let's get started. Well, Budmo, as you might be aware by now, is the online expert in terms of spare parts. If you want a spare part for your vehicle, they have it in their list. They have the most extensive spare parts catalog, right from the most affordable small car to the top of the line luxury car, you name the car, and they have the spare parts for it. And the best point is that they have the spare parts from a host of different component makers and different price segments for the same spare part. So if you want to buy a cheaper part from a different maker or a more expensive part from a different component maker, they have the option for you. And they also promise you 10 days assured return without any hassle. If you don't like the spare part, you can send it back and they'll return all the money to you in the first 10 days. So budmo.com is the name of the website. You can check them out on your iOS as well as Android devices as well, and they really are the experts when it comes to spare parts. Well, so before starting off the boot section of this car, let me just tell you that this beam over here, it actually lights up. It actually is a beam which has lights in it. So it looks really very cool, very fancy, especially at night. And this car looks very unique in the luxury car department, in the luxury car segment, because of this stylish boot section. Now talking about the boot itself, let me open up for you. It is of course a powered tailgate because you don't need to use any effort. It's a luxury car after all. Now it's a decent shape and size. The aperture is very good, which means you can load in those big boxes without any fuss at all. The thing is that because this car has a mild hybrid tech, so you need an extra pair of batteries at the back for energy conservation. So that also takes up a little bit of the space. But overall, it's nice and spacious. You also get a space saver here below this tray, and the loading sill also isn't too much. There's this chrome garnish over here, of course, so that your odds and ends don't rub against anything over here and spoil the body of the car. It's a power tailgate, as I just said. But once again, let me just close it and show you this design, because I think this just looks very fabulous. And in terms of the rear end design of this car, I'll give it a strong score of 10 out of 10. Well, so I'm in the back seat of the Audi A8L. Now this of course is the business end of the car, because a lot of buyers who buy this car will ultimately sit here only. 99% of the times they will never jump in the front seats. So let me tell you the good news first, that this is similar to the plot, the 100 gaz ka plot that you have in Faridabad, or 200 gaz ka plot that you have in Faridabad. And as I just said, if you live in a very posh area in South Bombay or in South Delhi, then the cabin is just meant for you, because it feels very posh, very opulent and very sophisticated, very upmarket. You get this touch pad over here, which is very similar in size to a Samsung S10 phone, and you can control all the operations of the seats and everything else inside the car from this. For instance, if you want to move the blinds over here, you want to pull them up or pull them down, simply need to press this button over here and control that feature on the car. Now if you are not someone who wants to do that and wants to instead use the massager function on the seats, you can use this touchpad once again. And of course, if you want to open up the roof over here, you can use this function as well. You can open up the panoramic sunroof in the front as well, and you can really do a host of features and functions which are available on this car, you can control them by this touchpad. You've got what I'm trying to say. You can even control these matrix lamps over here, and rather than using these buttons, you can do it in a more sophisticated way using this touchpad. Now the reason why there's so much space is because I've pushed this seat all the way up, and I've got plenty of place even to stretch my feet like this and simply enjoy the massage function on these seats. These are the best seats that I've sat in a long while, and definitely add par with the Mercedes S-Class and the BMW 7 Series, which are really its main rivals. Of course, we don't want so much space and you want somebody else in the front seat, maybe somebody you're doing business with, and you can always press this button over here and the seats themselves will come back. And even when they're in their back position, there's still loads of place available inside the cabin of the Audi A8L. So overall, it's a great place to be. And before I forget, there's also a fridge available over here. Let me just show that to you now, which can house at least 7 or 8 Diet Coke cans. It is quite nice and deep. So overall, what I'm trying to say is that if I had to give a score out of 10 to the backseat experience of the Audi A8, I'll give it a strong score of 11. Not only is it luxurious and very opulent to be in, it's also got some nice fancy features which will keep you busy over that long highway trip. Now let's jump in the front seat and see how good that really is. Well, so I'm inside the cabin of the A8L, and in terms of the overall ambience and in terms of the overall quality, the perceived quality levels are fantastic. Now Audis have always been known to have great interiors in terms of quality, and it's no different on this new car. You get excellent materials on top of the dashboard, excellent materials over here, and there's also a lot of cool touches on this car, especially this door lever. All you need to do is simply do this and it opens up. You don't even have to, use a lot of effort to open it up. The build quality is solid. That's a very reassuring third. And you get a couple of touchscreen devices over here. One is for the infotainment, the navigation, as well as the various settings on the car. The other one is just for the AC and climate control, and also for the AC on the seats, the cooling on the seats. So this is a car which gives you complete touch and feel. Even the gauges over here are completely digital, and of course you can move them around and change the fonts and the way you want to look at them. So if you want to see only where you're going, you can of course turn on the central gauge and make it a big map, and the speedometer and the rev counter become small. And of course, if you want to change the design and look and feel of it, you can again press this button, and then again you can get other settings and see them as the highlight, like what kind of economy you're getting. And at the moment, you're getting quite good economy. You're getting figures in excess of 8 kpl, which are very respectable for the size, shape, and the power that this car has to offer. Now, in terms of customization options, you can really do a lot of stuff on this car. If you want to change the color of the seat fabric, you can do that at an Audi dealership. If you want to change the way this has been made or the color of this trim, you can do that. And talking about trim and this part, even the AC vents, you don't have any buttons to control them. There's a touchpad here to control the throw of air. So that is a very cool touch as well. And also talking about the AC vents, when you start this car, they pop out from behind a shutter, and when you turn it off, that shutter comes back in and they are hidden away from your eyesight. So that's also a very cool touch. Talking about another feature, the biggest cool touch on this car is the Bang & Olufsen sound system. It's one of the best I've ever heard inside any car, and of course it should be, because this is a very expensive car. It costs well over 1.55 crores, so it has to be good, and it really does do justice to this car's interior. Now, if you are someone who lives up in a bungalow at Nipinsi Road in Bombay, or if you are someone who lives around Khan Market in Delhi and you want a big, posh and luxurious limousine, then this car's cabin definitely spells posh in the highest sense of the word. Now let's drive this car around and see how good is it to drive and how good is to sit in. Well, so here I am driving the Audi A8L. Now this car, remember, comes with a 3-liter petrol turbocharged engine, and it makes 340 bhp of power, and also makes 500 Nm of torque. Yes, 500 Nm is quite a lot, and all that power is transferred via an 8-speed gearbox. It's an automatic gearbox, and it's a quattro system, which means that power is transmitted to all 4 wheels, and that makes grip levels phenomenal from this car. But what's also phenomenal about it is the sheer levels of ride comfort. If you talk about ride comfort, then I think this car is right up there with the Mercedes S-Class and the BMW 7 Series. In fact, I think it is ahead of them, because the ride on this car is truly exemplary. And in the morning, when we were reaching our destination to shoot, which is Greater Noida, and getting this car here from Delhi, when we were using that expressway from Delhi to Greater Noida, there were a lot of badly patched roads. There were a lot of roads which had a lot of rumble strips on them, and there were lots of roads which had a lot of speed breakers which weren't really made very well. But this car made us feel as if we are gliding on a cushion of air. The suspension is so good, and I'm not exaggerating in the least. This car really does feel very well cushioned in terms of the suspension setup. So Audi has done a fantastic job, and definitely it's a car which should be on your list if you're in the market for a comfortable long distance luxury car. Now, because it is such a powerful car, it's a 340 bhp car, the performance figures have to be good, and this car makes 340 bhp, which means that 0 to 100 comes up in a shade over 5 seconds, which is very good for this kind of car. It's a long car, it's a heavy car, so for such a big car, these are very good figures. But this car masks its speeds very well, so you've got to be very careful when you're on the highway, because before you know it, you might be doing illegal speeds, and on most highways it's 80 or 90 or 100 kph, so you've got to be very careful. This car can really get up to those speeds in blink of an eye, so you have to be careful about that. What's also good is the fact that this car seems to wrap itself around the driver. It doesn't feel like it's a long and heavy car. It is of course a 5.3 meter long car, but it never feels like that, because as I just said, it seems to just wrap itself around the driver. And what's more, the visibility is excellent all across. You get excellent visibility from the mirror over here, you get excellent visibility from the side view mirrors, and the A-pillar here also isn't very thick, so you can easily look around it and see what's coming from the other side of the circle or the roundabout. So the visibility all across is genuinely very good. What's also good about it is the light controls. The light controls mean that if you are someone who drives a lot in the city yourself, you will never feel tired at the end of a long day, and you'll come out of this car as fresh as you had entered it when you started your journey. Now, if you're someone who wants a little more engagement from his driving experience, you can always check out the drive select system over here and press it and change the settings. Right now, we're driving this car in the comfort setting, so everything is nice and supple and soft. The controls are light, the engine is, just relaxing, and the suspension also is in its soft setting. Of course, if you choose the sport mode, then everything becomes tighter and more angrier. But you can also choose individual mode, where you can choose what kind of weight you want in the steering wheel, what kind of aggressiveness you want from the engine, and how firm you want the suspension. So that is something very good. Right now I've used the individual mode now, and in the individual mode I've taken the steering in its lightest setting, but the suspension and the engine I have put in the dynamic setting so that I get the best out from them. But I don't want the steering to feel firm, so that's why I put it in the light setting, or the setting which has the least amount of weight. So what I'm trying to say is that this car's customization levels are also available for the engine, gearbox, and the steering wheel, and the suspension as well. Now, this car, remember, comes with a mild hybrid tech system, which means that there's a battery pack which aids fuel efficiency. And because of that mild hybrid tech, what you also get is the fact that when you're coasting this car, cruising in this car, and doing speeds of about 120, 140 kph, this car can coast for a while using that system. The other good part about this car is that it also steers a little bit from the back wheels, the wheels at the back, the rear wheels. So if you move it around in city and take it around those circles, this car's steering radius or turning radius is as good as that of a small hatchback or a compact SUV. So it is a good car in that department as well. Now, I've really enjoyed driving this car all day long today, and if I had to give it a score out of 100, then I would give the Audi A8 in the driving department a strong score of 92. Yes, it's a very good car for people who call themselves keen drivers. It's a very good car for luxury. It's a very good car for comfort, and overall, it's just a very strong package. So if you're lucky enough to have this kind of cash lying around and want a car which offers you great luxury, great comfort, and also comes with a very posh badge, then the new Audi A8L is a car you should definitely keep in your shortlist. Not only does it offer you a long list of features and great comfort, I reckon it offers you the best ride comfort in this segment. Now, some of you might say that it's a little more expensive than its main rivals, but that said, this car offers you a host of customization options that its rivals simply cannot match. So what I'm essentially trying to say is that this is the quintessential luxury car, and I'll give it a strong score of 95 out of 100. It's bye for now, and thanks for watching.